Welcome back to episode 14. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Cunningham. Here's your other host,
Travis Gearhart.
And we are
Disenfranchised.
Hey, look at that. We were kind of together.
Dude,
on
actually,
that one.
when I was editing the one from last week, we hit the entrance one perfect. We were fucking dead nuts. The outro was a little messed up, but that's okay.
It's almost like we are professionals, you could say.
Professionals at being disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised.
I handed out a lot of business cards this past. So I yesterday was the Indiana Libertarian, not caucus, conference, convention, rather. That's the right answer. And I am now officially your District 4 State Rep Libertarian candidate.
How did they do that? Did they put you up and take a vote, or how'd that work?
So we started at the top. Basically, we started with all of the top seats. So our Secretary of State candidate, Lori Schillings, she's awesome. She's I'm going to be trying to do as much campaigning for her up around here because it has a lot to do with ballot access at the Secretary of State. So if you want, even if you don't really care about like, oh man, the libertarians, I don't agree with them on everything. If you at least want fair elections, if you want to at least have all the voices heard, then you need to get out and vote for Lori for Liberty. LoriForLiberty.com is her site. Donate, help put a sign up, dude, because she's the real deal. She's coming at it hard. She's raising money. She's raising funds. She's said that the way that the Indiana Republicans have been acting as far as ballot access has been abysmal. So yeah, she's coming for the crown, man. I'm excited.
At what point would you vote for her? Do you vote for her in the upcoming primary in what, beginning of May, or is it in the general?
This was our primary, basically. We don't. Okay. If I would have had a challenger, right, it would have been done at the convention, which I kind of like, right?
You guys would have had to arm wrestle for it.
Yeah. I would have won. I would have won, by the way. But the dude, I looked at that picture of me in my suit, and I'm just like, this is why guys that like deadlift and like work out heavy don't wear suits, because they end up looking like just like a tree trunk, and
like me, dude. They look fucking jacked.
Right, that's true. So I do like this shirt. This is one of those real nice soft ones. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like this. Got it the thing. So
it was pretty nice.
But so I actually like how the convention style was. So they started at the top. You went through the whole thing, and like, so let's say I would have had. So I get nominated by a couple of the Porter County Libertarians, right? Couple of really nice people. Matt LaFree was one of them. John Schick, who's actually our auditor candidate, he nominated me for the second.
There's another Libertarian candidate in Porter County?
Yes, he's running for state auditor.
State auditor.
Yeah, state auditor. He is. He'll even tell you he's more of a paper candidate. He's not going to do any money raising. He's not going to really. Basically, he just wants to put an option out there and try to see. Hey, here's another vote. I'll field questions. I'll probably put a website together. He's like, but I'm not campaigning heavy. I'm not pushing a lot of money. I'm just putting an option out there. And there's a few people on the ballot that did that specifically, but they also were more than willing to tell Evan, the chairman, they were more than willing to tell him, hey, look, I'm not really doing it. And he's like, all right, I understand that. It was actually pretty cool. Like the Libertarian state chairman, Evan, I don't know why I can't think of his last name real quick. Hold on. He just started following me too. So I'm going to feel like a real jerk off if he's listening to this and going, you just spent a bunch of time with me. Evan McMahon. It's really cool when your state chairman has a hand tattoo, and he's up there doing having the gavel and going through all the rules of everything. And he's got a, every once in a while he's hitting his juke bar, or his geek bar, I like that. I would much rather have that. Like, that's a little more in the vein of what's going on. And you know what I like too? I'll show you at some point, but we had our whole convention list and it was all written out. And then on the back of it, like it had actually one of the things that I noticed that wasn't at the Republican conventions that I was at back in the day, was it actually had the what do you call it? The rules for stuff like it had the order, the rules of order. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like how to when to make a motion, when to make a something, you do this, when to second it. And I was like, "Hey, you know what? That's cool. I like that. That's just I feel like one little extra thing that you don't really see." And I was telling Max when we were over my that's my ex-wife's husband. We're tight. And he and I were helping put up some soffit at my mom and dad's house today because when the bad storms came up, and this will segue perfectly into the next kind of section of why Keith wasn't here last week. But I was talking to him about it, and what was cool was I was sitting at a table, and basically half the table was like Christian, not Republicans, obviously, libertarians, and the other half they said, yeah, we're atheists, and it was pretty cool because we had a really good discussion about, I mean, the Bible, stuff that you couldn't imagine having conversations with strangers, right? The two rules they always say, don't talk about religion and politics. Well, here we are at a political event talking about religion. And it was actually very
But
civil.
no politics.
No problem. So, but it was a very civil conversation, and I really dug it, and I really do feel like I found my home. I feel like this is probably where I should have, you know, I feel like I feel like I should have switched over officially a long time ago. Personally, that's me. Everyone's got their own different stuff. I think it's a good group of people. Obviously, it wasn't nearly as big of a convention as when I went down to the Republican one, much smaller room.
What do you think the turnout was? How many people do you think were there?
I mean, there was still a couple hundred. You know, there was still a fair amount. Justin Amash was the speaker. Both Republicans and Libertarians always loved him. He was kind of like the Thomas Massey before Thomas Massey. He was kind of the Ron Paul, which even a lot of Republicans respected Ron Paul, um, until he didn't. So yeah, man, it was a cool event. I'm happy to be involved. I'm happy to help out. I got a lot of good information. We're gonna have Lori on the podcast. We're gonna have this guy who not special needs like mentally, but special needs like physically, and he actually is in a wheelchair, and he seemed like a really cool guy. He had I didn't get a chance to watch his movie that he submitted. I feel like I got like a bug or something on me. I felt like something tickling me. But anyways, this is gonna be like real crazy. Like I'm gonna turn, you're gonna see like a face come out of the background.
It's gonna
But
be Aaron.
yeah, well, it better not be. That'd be weird.
She's gonna be you.
Don't say that. Don't give her that idea. Don't give her that idea. She'll be like, perfect. What are you gonna do? Say no?
Keith's a fucking genius.
I don't know if I've ever heard those words. No, I'm joking. Except from you, obviously.
Ugh.
But anyways,
Usually,
so speaking of me over there talking to Max about this, I was telling him about my experience yesterday, how cool it was, and while we were doing it from the tornadoes that came through the area. So yeah, that's where Keith was at. In fact, right around here, I'll drop some videos and pictures in of Keith's in-laws' houses to show. Those were some serious
it's right
storms,
there
man.
at 49 and 1100 in Wheatfield. I'm cleaning a house. That's the ceiling. You can see where the roof is split. That's the garage. You probably can't tell, but the floor has a giant hump in it. That side of the house is still, this side of the house is on the ground, but there's a big fucking hill. I'm right here. All fucking mangled. It's there's a lot of damage. There's more, but there's like 12 houses in a row that are all pretty well damaged. It's kind of interesting though, because like his property is, I think it's roughly 5 acres. It's not very wide, but it's deep. The
Appreciate
trees
that.
in the back, they're wiped out. Then there's a lean-to, completely fine, nothing wrong with it. I mean, it had a tree leaning on it, but it's not bad. And then the boat was fine, and then the pole barn next to it, gone, wiped out. It's then the in the front of In front of the pole barn, there was like a office building, like a smaller office building attached to it. It's still standing. I mean, it's off the foundation a little bit. It's a little crooked, but it's still standing. Then the house looks like it. I mean, whoever built the house, they must have did a pretty good job, but it looks like it picked the house up and moved it 20 feet. And it's still standing, barely, but it's still there. It's pretty
I still
crazy.
standing. Yeah.
The shipping container was in his backyard. It rolled up and hit his truck. Tossed his other car back there, his truck. The Maverick is a little fucked.
They won't have to worry about it because side by side and the generator's gonna be gone.
The Ranger don't look terrible.
We need to find out, like, what the process is.
Keys are in it. Smooth the motherfucker. Bed's fucked. This was a... Ooh. Tractor's fucked. This was a 35-40 pole barn. It's pretty wild. We went into the house to get stuff out of there, and you've got the pillars in the middle and the foundation that are still there, but now they're like bulging through the floor, so the floor is all wavy.
Right.
And as you're walking, the floor is cracking. We went into one of the bedrooms that's no longer over the top of the crawl space; it's over the top of the grass now, and the floor fell out while we were in there. Luckily, it only fell to the floor or to the ground, 6 inches.
Yeah.
Still pretty crazy. I'm just
Well, you
waiting.
never think that it's going to happen to you, right? It's kind of one of those like getting struck by lightning, And I think about that sometimes when I'm out on the golf course. We had when we were in Houston, we had those same storms. They started out west. Well, we were out west, so they came through Houston first, the ass end of it, and it obviously wasn't nearly as bad as what you guys hit. We just, it got a little dark. We had to come off the golf course, and the problem was it got so much rain so quick that we basically just got a rain check for the day and we just left because it was just so much freaking water. But my point is though, like I'm out there with my buddy Ed, and I don't know if Ed listens to us, but hey Ed, and I'm just like, we had a couple of times where we got stuck in storms before, and you know what, man, I'm about 2 months away from 40. I don't like getting stuck in the middle of a thunderstorm with nothing to fucking be underneath but a bunch of trees, thinking and a bag's full of metal, going, this is going to be a real stupid way to die for me to be out here on a golf course when we had so much time ahead of time saying, hey, come on, guys. And so I started getting a little pissy, and I felt bad because I was just like, it's not that I'm afraid of storms, but I'm at a point where I don't want to sit there. I don't want to get soaking drenched wet if I don't have to, I
don't know if it's just me, but it seems like the storms around here are getting worse.
Yes.
And they did put something out there that Tornado Alley has shifted. Like it used to be like the Northwest Indiana area was just barely in Tornado Alley. Now it's shifted to the east, and we're fully in Tornado Alley.
I have heard that too.
Yeah.
I didn't read too much into that, but I have heard. I think Erin was telling me something. She had seen something about that the other day, and that doesn't surprise me. I mean, it seems like and we can get into a whole 2-hour conversation with somebody that knows more about it than we do about whether or not it's carbon emissions doing it and all this other stuff, whether or not there's anything we could conceivably do. I was listening to a podcast that John Kiriakou and Ted Rawlings, whatever. And Ted Rawlings had kind of said, he goes, well, at this point, he goes, I'm against all the carbon credit stuff because he's like, everything that I've read says that it's basically too late. There's things we can do to mitigate it, but it kind of is what it is at this point. And it's like, well, that's a whole nother argument that I hadn't really heard, so, Was Greta Thunberg right? I don't know. I don't. It's not helping that we got Iran. Everyone's burning each other's fucking oil fields right now. That's not doing any help.
Well, I seen, God, what was it called? I seen something that was called a magnetic pole shift, where the Earth they're saying it's possibly tilting.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those. If I'm not mistaken, I don't know how much that has to do with the weather though.
It's called a geomagnetic reversal. It happens roughly every 200 to 300,000 years. The last one was 780,000 years ago.
Okay, maybe I was thinking of something else then.
If it happens, compasses would point the opposite way. Satellites and power grids could be affected. But here's kind of what I'm thinking. If you look at it, if you just think of a blank globe, okay, blank globe. Let's say that Tornado Alley actually stayed in the same spot, but the poles shifted. That would move where Tornado Alley was. And if you look at weather, when me and you were kids, it was snowing in October. We had, Halloween. It always snowed on Halloween. Now it's not snowing until December. I mean, then you look now,
I'll
Texas.
get a little bit of pushback because it has snowed on Halloween with my kids. I remember when I was living in the Seasons, it was snowing on Halloween.
Yeah, but it was like once or twice. When we were kids,
Yeah,
it was every time.
almost every Halloween. Yeah. Oh, it's definitely. Look, it's March 22nd right now. We're recording this, and it's like blustery and like 42. This is usually weather that would be this time at early March, right? By now, we'd be in the mid 50s back in the day. Like April, I remember always being pretty warm.
Yeah.
Well, April showers bring May flowers. March comes in like a lion, out like a lamb. So it's almost like the whole seasons haven't been shifted a full amount. It's just like 1 month. You know what I mean?
I think I was just looking. I will pull up the weather because I was just looking the other day and I'm like, holy shit, we got about a whole week of rain coming up.
Yeah.
Let's see what it's saying. Tuesday, March 31st, it starts raining and then it doesn't stop until Sunday,
No shit.
April 5th. So there you go. Your
Well, hopefully
April showers.
hopefully my cousin's weddings isn't outside because I got weddings that week in April.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll drop some pictures and some videos of the tornado damage. I've seen a lot of tornado damage in Lake Village. I did not personally go out there. I've been out in Wheatfield working on that one for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days, pretty much.
Yeah.
When I have time available. I took was it last week? No, the week before I took Wednesday, Thursday off, went back to work on Friday, and then I was out there Saturday and Sunday. It's getting sporadic now. You kind of hurry up and wait because you're waiting for insurance. And it sounds like that string of houses, it sounds like the majority of them had State Farm, which not knocking State Farm or anything.
They
But we'll
had
see how they
State
go.
Farm.
And then I did hear of
Sorry,
one
that's
on
not
there.
State. Sorry.
There was a house in there that they, from what I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, they just house is paid for. They just did not pay their insurance.
That's got to be the worst feeling in the world. It's like dropping your car to liability and getting into a head-on collision.
Yeah.
That sucks. I feel so bad for them. But you know what? Insurance is such a goddamn scam anyways. There's got to be like, don't get me wrong. I don't want to sound, day one of being the official libertarian candidate. And I'm like, we need socialism. But there's got to be.
We need socialism.
There's got to be some way to strategically make them do it. Like it's crap. It's crap. I read an interesting article. Speaking of that it was talking about. Did you ever read about the Ford versus the Dodge brothers stuff? So Henry Ford actually.
Hold on a second, Travis. Let me mention something really quick before you get into vehicles. Think of this for house and for homeowners insurance. How often, you were a homeowner, how often did you go update your policy? Now, we talked about this with Kate for state. How quick is the housing market changing and house values are going up? Did people go, oh shit, we'll just use 300,000. My $300,000 house that I bought for 100,000 20 years ago, I still got coverage on it for 100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people are running into that too.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. That's a very good point. And I wouldn't mind digging more into stuff like that because I don't know everything there is to know about housing. I don't want to ever pretend like I know everything because that's the best way to be just like all these other useless politicians. But I do think that there's, you can't look at, it's not lost on me to be sitting here looking at the housing crisis nationally, seeing that the average first-time homeowner is 40 years old now. And while that's happening and you have all of these renters, you have the government, taking it's just so blatant that the government takes care of all of these big business, all these corporations all the time, man. And that's just, I don't know. It's one of those things where you can understand why so many of the youth are just coming out and saying like, screw it, down with capitalism. This is late stage capitalism. And it's
You could
because they're
say
not
they-
being taught enough to see that we don't have capitalism, that we haven't had capitalism, which is what we've said on this show 1,000 times. I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but it really is.
You could say that the youth is coming out of the womb disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised. I was wondering for a second where you were going with that. It's like the youth is coming out of the womb, and I'm like, where you going with this, bud? You're coming out.
They're-
Oh, God.
All right, what were you saying about Ford and Dodge?
Yeah, look it up. So anybody that's listening to this, take some time and look it up. So Ford actually tried to give their workers a substantial raise, right? Because they had a bunch of money, they had a bunch of equity, and so Ford was going to take that equity and put it into the company in the form of paying the employees a bunch more money. Now, part of that reason was because he had an idea that the Dodge brothers, who were on his board, were wanting to set aside and become a competitor and put together a competing company. So the Dodge brothers actually sued Henry Ford, saying that you can't give these guys a raise because this is equity and it's meant to go towards your board because it's a publicly traded company. And so the Dodge brothers, let me pull it up here. Let me pull it up on
The Dodge brothers had to stop the raises because they couldn't afford it when they were leaving.
Well, and that was what helped set precedent for like the United Healthcare when that guy got killed and United Healthcare started actually being an insurance company and giving, my dad was one of them. All of a sudden, a lot of the cancer treatment stuff that weren't on the table anymore was on the table. Huh. It was insane. Well, so here's and this, all I typed in was Dodge Brothers old logo. So here is, and again, you can take from this what you want, but here I'm going to share my screen. So this is the old Dodge Brothers stuff right here. And they became the group that, there we go. Okay, all right. Did I stop sharing? All right. So I just want to show a quick clip. But yeah, they basically helped set the precedent for them not being able to do that, right? Which is insane. It's insane to me. Like, now, mind you, if you look it up historically, Henry Ford mostly didn't want to do it because he knew that the Dodge brothers were going to basically set up a competing business. And he was right. And as soon as they got their money, that's what they did. But that it's just one of those fun little historical things that, hey, that's what these guys wanted to do, and that's set up historical precedents for all of that. So it's one of those things that, like you and I we're both. I'm former union, you're current union. We're both union. One of my 6 things is to get rid of right to work. I'm pro union, but one of the things that the union always says is like, oh well, it started way back when Henry Ford wouldn't give, and that's not really true. Henry Ford, now he might have, part of it was that Henry Ford didn't want to because he wanted to screw over his competitors. And that's 2 things can be right at the same time, right?
Yeah.
It's just an interesting little thing that made me think about it. This is unrelated. We didn't talk about or plan on having this, having this be a part of the conversation, but while we were talking about it, I thought, screw it. Let's bring it up. So that is one of those things that, kind of makes me just think that I'm just going to buy, I might have to buy from Ford from now on. I used to be a little bit of a Dodge guy. Now knowing the past history, I don't think I'm going to be buying any more Dodges. So
I'll continue to buy my Toyotas, I guess.
actually, I'm German, so I had to buy Volkswagens.
There you go.
I drive a Chevy Colorado now, and I you know what, man? I always used to talk shit about Chevy because my buddy Gary is like the biggest Chevy guy on the planet. He has all these Chevy. He's one of those guys, he's got all the Chevy logos hanging up in his garage and all that. And I would always just talk shit about Chevy literally just to make him mad. The same thing with my brother being a big soccer fan. And he hated Manchester United. And so guess what became my favorite soccer team?
Manchester United.
Manchester United. And there would be something go on, and my brother would message me on Facebook and be like, oh, looks like scummy Man U lost yesterday, but of course you were watching, huh? And I would quick look up the highlights, and I'd be like, oh yeah, can you believe the miss? And he's like, I know you just looked that up. I'm like, prove it. Oh dude, I used to just piss him off so bad. It was so fun. It was so fun. But yeah, that's one of the things. Something needs to be done. And that's why we're gonna do it. But anyways, real quick, sports. I was gonna say, you want to talk sport?
Yeah, let's go to sports.
Sports.
I don't really have anything for football at all.
Go sports.
Football is.
Let me do a quick reminder. I don't think there's anything that we didn't really talk about in the NFL. The combine, I guess we're coming up on the draft pretty quick, so I feel like all of the free agent stuff, everything's kind of come to a standstill for a little while. There might be a random signing here or there, but for the most part, I think everyone's done what they're going to do until
I think all the big signings are done till after the draft.
Yep.
You might see some draft picks traded like right before the draft or during the draft, but other than that, I don't think so.
No. What do the Bears need? Let's talk about our teams real quick. What do the Bears need?
They need help on the offensive line since their center retired, which they picked up another center.
Yeah, for the Patriots.
Defensive line, really, defensive end. I expected him to get that guy. If they were not going for Max Crosby, which found that out right away, then I expected them to take Hendrickson. And I think everybody expected that.
Yep.
They didn't touch him. I expected them to keep Kevin Baird. They let all their cornerbacks and safeties go for 1-year deals to other teams.
Crazy.
It's whatever. But at the same time, I'm okay with it because let's look at one of the Bears' biggest rivals, the Packers. How did the Packers build their team? Through the draft.
Cowboys same way.
That's how they always build their team, is through the draft. Yeah. The Bears have been playing catch up every year, trading away stuff to get they've been doing it since what, Jay Cutler? Yeah. And it hasn't worked for them. So just build it through the draft. And we've pulled some pretty good gems out of the draft in the late rounds, like Monning guy. I'm not opposed to getting rid of DJ Moore. I'm not saying that I didn't like DJ Moore. I liked him. I thought he was a fine player, but I think it was the right time to move on him. Yeah. I think we could pull somebody not necessarily just as good or just as polished, but I think they're out there.
Yeah. I think they got a good. You think the Bears do better or worse this year? Then you think it's a not quite a rebuild, but a reload. You think that this year they kind of go up and then really try to go all in next year?
I don't know if we go up. It depends on who they draft. Right now, I think they're going to stay about the same. And I haven't, if I remember correctly, last year's Bears schedule was one of the toughest in the league. I think it was. This year, I don't think it's as tough.
Well, they won their division, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be playing all the first place teams, though.
Yeah, right.
So I kind of have a feeling that's going to not be. I think they had a surprisingly tough schedule last year, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. But I think this year is going to be not surprisingly tough.
Yeah. Well, let's look at
Same
it.
with the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are coming in on a good year. I thought the Cowboys were dog shit at the beginning of last year, and guess what? I was absolutely fucking right. Then they made a bunch of middle of the season moves that I was like, okay. Quinnen Williams was the biggest one. Going in and grabbing him, I did not see that coming, and he was a game changer. He absolutely. We have not had a real defensive tackle probably since I watched the freaking team. That just hasn't been a priority. Like, we always get like some basic ass second or third round. They do okay. They kind of do like B minus C plus tier work. And then we just either don't sign them and they go somewhere else and they fall into the trash bin of, history, right? I can't think of any defensive tackles that I really liked that I never really did shit. I take that back. The same one that from the year that we drafted DeMarcus Marcus Spears. I take that back. Marcus Spears was a good defensive tackle. He was really good. Still, he wasn't A grade. I bet he was like a high B. You know what I mean?
Looking at these teams, I pulled up their home game and their away game schedule.
For
You
who?
got the
Bears or
Lions,
Cowboys?
Packers, Vikings, got them at home
Bears.
and away. Home games other than division is Saints, Buccaneers, Patriots, Jets, Eagles. How do you judge that? Because you don't know what the Jets are going to do. You have no idea about the Jets.
The Jets are still really rebuilding, though. The Jets,
Yep.
I think, are going to be the Jets. They suck. I think the Eagles are going to be competitive. They still are. And the Eagles were
I think
competitive last year.
Eagles, Patriots will be competitive. What
I
about
think
Saints?
Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield was still showing up and showing out. I think the Buccaneers are still going to be good. What was the last one? Saints. I don't know, man.
Don't know.
They're sneaky. That's a sneaky one because they're rebuilding as well, but they had a good we'll see what happens, man.
And here's their away games. Okay. Falcons, Panthers, Bills, Dolphins.
I think Dolphins are going to be a win. I think
Falcons are a toss-up. Panthers are a toss-up. I think Panthers
Bills look good this year with the pickups that the Bills just did.
Yep.
I think Bills are pissed. Bills are so pissed off that they've been going out first round and they got rid of that coach and they said, go in there and spend some money. This is our year. I am all in on the Bills this year. I hope honestly, I hope they do. I hope Josh Allen goes in and just finally breaks that damn curse, because, they deserve it. That's a city that deserves it, man.
If the Bills,
unless it's the Cowboys.
If the Bills make it to the Super Bowl, are you willing to do an elbow drop on a folding table?
Yes. God, yes. Let's record it. Let's absolutely record it. We will straight up do it without
You're going to join the Bills Mafia?
I will paint my face. I will do all of it. I will. Yes, I will be a part of the Bills Mafia.
Now, if I remember correctly, back when the Cowboys won their 3 Super Bowls, wasn't it against the Bills?
At least 2 of them were against the Bills. Yeah.
2 of them were against Jim Kelly and the Bills.
Suck it, Bills.
And now,
don't get me wrong, if it ends up being the Cowboys versus Bills this year, I'll still obviously be rooting for the Cowboys, but I won't feel as bad if the Bills win. You know what I mean?
Well, on the AFC side, I would like to see the Bills in the Super Bowl. They are my second favorite football team.
Yeah.
Behind the Bears.
Yeah.
So the Do you got any more for football? Anything from the Cowboys?
No, nothing crazy. Let me just click on our website in case there's something I forgot about that pops out and reminds me. But I don't think anything.
Well, I can go March Madness 2026, which I am watching some of the games, but I don't know. I'm just not that into it.
I don't
But
care that much
there
about
is some,
basketball.
they're eliminated now. High Point has been eliminated, but before High Point, yeah. Now, is that a High Point 40 or High Point 45?
Well, this would be probably a 40.
So High Point has been eliminated now, but before number 12 High Point did take out Wisconsin, number 5. That's probably the biggest upset. Or VCU, the VCU Rams, they took out the North Carolina Tar Heels. But
Yeah.
honestly, other than that, I don't think there's been really any upsets.
Well, it's only the first round, so there's still some other ones that are happening.
No, we are going into the second round is completing now. We're going into
Oh,
the
really?
Sweet
That shows
16
how much I
already.
pay attention.
Yeah. We're into the Sweet 6, going into the Sweet 16, and I do believe Purdue is in the Sweet 16.
Nice, good. That'd be so cool to see Purdue win both. Or no, not Purdue. I'm sorry, I was thinking IU. But to see Indiana teams in general, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Win both. IU in football, Purdue in basketball.
It's actually kind of interesting because Michigan's the number 1 seed. It says that this is for the Big Ten, they're dominating right now. Illinois, the number 3 seed, they're moving on, so it sounds like they're possibly made it to the Sweet 16. Michigan State was a 3 seed, they're advancing, and Purdue, number 2 seed, they are into the Sweet 16. There has not been a massive number 1 seed collapse yet. You still have Michigan, Duke, and Florida. Well, Florida is
Duke's
currently.
always in it.
Yep.
Always.
I did see, we watched a game last night. What was it, Gonzaga? And I'm always rooting for Gonzaga, and they got eliminated. Texas Gonzaga and Arkansas eliminated High Point 88-94. The guy on High Point, their point guard, he's like 5'10", 5'11". He was a little guy, but he reminded me of Muggsy Bogues, man. That dude was so fast. It was crazy how fast he is.
Right. Just a little guy running up and down the court.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Muggsy Bogues. I
So
remember
then
that.
you look at the number 1 seeds like Duke, TCU. Duke beat TCU 81-58. It's like a no contest. Michigan, St. Louis, 95-72. And some of these games are real blowouts, and some of them are kind of tight. And the one thing, back when we watched basketball, when it was like Jordan, Rodman, Pippen, all them, it was actually interesting. It was kind of physical. Now it's you get down to the end of the game, and the last 2 minutes of the game takes a half hour because it's foul, going to the free throw line, foul, going to the free. It's like,
Yep.
geez, boring as fuck.
That's what I can't stand about basketball in general. You know, man, like, I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. I don't care. You know, I don't care. I don't want to I don't want to say that I like dislike basketball because I enjoy all sports, really I do. I enjoy a good competitive game. But the thing with basketball is that it's just you get to the end of it and every single game I've watched is just a foul on top of a foul on top of a foul. It's like the last 2 minutes of football with both teams having timeouts, but at least it makes sense. At least there's at least there's some strategy and not just, all right, let's hope he doesn't make the free throw and hope we can get the ball.
Yeah.
Just so boring. And Eddie, because Eddie's a big baseball guy, right? And I'm not a huge baseball guy either. I think we talked about this on the show a little bit when we were talking about Chad Patrick and stuff. I like going to a baseball game. I like going and getting drunk on the train, and almost every Cubs game I've gone to in my life, I've almost gotten kicked out or arrested. So I will tell some of those stories later another
Well,
time.
I can go, but I got one more for football.
Okay, one more for football.
For football, yeah, they are discussing a possible rule change in the draft. Not going to happen this year, possibly next year.
What's that?
The Cleveland Browns propose a draft change. They want to be able to trade picks up to 5 years out instead of 3. Right now, the cutoff is 3.
Only the Cleveland Browns. Only the Cleveland Browns.
They are trying their best to take the Browns to the Super Bowl. And
insert that Dave Chappelle meme. You guys got any more of those first round picks?
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's kind of stupid. I mean, you're really mortgaging your future at that point. Like, you're like, okay, boomer, what is this, Social Security?
I think that's insane, especially that owners, because you got to look at how a football team is made up. You've got the owners, and then you've got the management that they've hired. Management is the ones proposing these changes. How are the owners are like, oh, that's okay. Yeah, we'll trade away our 4th and 5th year first round picks so we can have 1, 2, and 3 years will be decent, and then we're going to suck again.
And with the new proposed rule changes, the Cleveland Browns trade Tampa Bay Buccaneers for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, they give away their 4th and 5th first-round pick for Baker Mayfield. Yeah, they'll pick somebody that's got some ridiculous amount of money on their contract that's about to retire.
Right. Well, and somebody that started with them, you know. Well, it's just like, who was it that the Jets traded for, that quarterback? Who's the quarterback for the Jets right now? Geno Smith.
Oh my
You know
God.
what I mean? Like, how fucking awesome is that? Imagine being Geno Smith. I got traded to who? God damn it.
Yeah, he's like,
son of a bitch.
He's like, I'm a backup. Why do I keep getting traded around like I'm the number one guy?
He's a good backup. I mean, as far as backups go, he's got pedigree. He's better than a lot of backups.
Is he going to be their backup, though?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know enough about the Jets.
Well,
they're probably going to draft a quarterback early, is my guess.
Well, they traded away Justin Fields to be that's an interesting one, too, because he's going to be the backup for Kansas City. Isn't Eddie a Kansas City fan? Or no, he's a Colts fan.
Eddie hates Kansas City. He hates Patrick Mahomes. He hates Travis Kelce. And so do I. Don't get me wrong. I hate both the Kelce brothers. Fuck them.
I'm curious, though, because Patrick Mahomes, I'm pretty sure he's not going to start the season. They're going to start with Justin Fields. How is Justin Fields going to do with that offense? That offensive line and those receivers out in front of him. I'm curious. Okay. Is he going to be the same old Justin Fields?
You got to put somebody in there. At least Justin Fields gives you a chance.
Yeah.
I like the Cowboys backup pick. You see they picked up that Sam Howell. He used to be for the Eagles.
And I'm curious.
That's a good backup.
With the Dolphins, what's going to go on with the Dolphins? Isn't the Dolphins, they're the ones that took the quarterback from Green Bay?
Yes. Malik Neighbors? No, not Neighbors.
No.
Malik Collins. I think Collins. Malik Wilson?
Malik Willis.
I don't know, lots of them. Malik Willis. Malik Willis.
Wilson, who gives a shit? Malik Willis. He's the expected starter. Now, this is crazy. Expected starter for 2026. He signed a 3-year deal. How much do you think that 3-year deal is worth? Now, mind you,
$35 million.
He was a backup. He played what? Half a game against the Bears?
No, he played the full game. He played 2 or 3 games and played really well for the Packers, actually. I think he came from Tennessee. He was a first-round pick. So I actually don't hate this move. I really don't. I think they could still pick up a early round quarterback to develop behind Malik Willis while also giving him a chance to earn that starting spot. I actually don't hate this. I know you were kind of thinking of it as in a different light. Like, what is it? Probably what, 10 million a year?
3 years, 67 million.
Whew.
Now, what do you think? Is he a $67 million quarterback?
I think they overpaid for him, but I don't know, man. I could say that, but what's the average? We also are paying fucking Dak Prescott so much money. So how much is he worth the amount of money we're giving? I don't know. If he plays like he did last year, he had the season of his life last year and played great. And he played, but he's been such a, his career has been this. Some of it's been injury, but not all of it. There's been years where he hasn't even been hurt that much that he just threw picks like he was the second coming of Tony Romo. And listen, man.
It says, if Willis struggles, they could draft a QB soon. Now think of this. If Willis struggles, Dolphins are going to have a terrible season because other than him in their quarterback room, they have Quinn Ewers, Ewers.
Whoever that is.
Or Cam Miller. Quinn Ewers is a young backup with limited experience. Cam Miller, he provides depth, but he is a developmental guy. So, who, obviously not this season, what's the next big hyped QB that's going to be drafted? Not this draft, but next draft.
Does his name rhyme with Shanning?
It does. It sure does.
Are they racing to the bottom this season so they can try to win the Archie Manning Bowl?
It could be. That is possible. You've heard it right here, folks. We've been the first one to
You heard it here
announce
first. The Dolphins are playing the long game.
Yep.
Look at this. With the way this hat looks like I'm wearing a do-rag.
You could say the Browns are also playing the long game because they're willing to trade their third, fourth, and fifth year first-round picks to get the first round
Maybe that's
pick.
why. That's why they want to do it. They want this proposed rule change done now so that next year they can bet the farm on Archie Manning.
If that happens, would Archie Manning pull an Eli Manning?
I hope. I fucking hate Eli Manning. What a little bitch. What a little bitch.
Well, if I remember, who was Eli supposed to play for? San Diego Chargers.
The Chargers.
Yep.
Instead, Phillip Rivers went and played and had a good NFL career at the Chargers. And Eli Manning, he had an okay NFL career at the Giants, won a couple of Super Bowls. He tripped into a couple of Super Bowls.
He did.
He tripped into a couple of Super Bowls.
He's a Hall of Famer now.
Hall of Famer now. Fucking piece of shit.
Man.
I hate Eli Manning. I hope somehow this ends up on SportsCenter. There's like, these two podcasters for some reason just really hate me. And there's Eli Manning, mouth breathing moron.
Who?
His brother with his forehead about 7 stories tall.
Speaking of the Giants, there was more news about the Giants. What did that Scattaboo guy say? I'm gonna bring up what he said.
I don't remember what he said. I think I kind of remember reading it, but remind me.
Scattaboo is all over the news right now, but not for football reasons. He was on a podcast, and Scattaboo said that CTE isn't real and asthma is fake. Oh man.
Oh, that's perfect. That's actually the perfect response then. What did Scattaboo say?
And I saw this thing. After he said that, they brought up Jackson Dart had like 5 concussions last year, or he got pulled back into the blue tent 5 times to do to check for concussions. CTE isn't real. What he said, God, what did he say about it? Oh man.
That's funny. I mean, I remember that one guy for the Bears saying that they asked him about it. I don't remember which player it was, but I think it was a white dude for some reason. It sticks out. And they asked him, like, well, what are your thoughts of, with concussions, whatever. And he goes, yeah, I'll probably die sooner than most of my, other people my age, but it's worth it. And they're like, Jesus Christ. I mean, I guess, if you say, hey, we'll give you till about mid-50s, that's probably roughly when it kind of reaches max CTEism. Like
CT.
mid CTism. You can be a millionaire though and have a really great life until you're 55, and then a lot of people would say, you know what, let's do it, because the alternative, you could get cancer and die in your late 70s
The alternative is
or 60s.
you could work for 30 years, retire, and then die the next day.
Yep. Happens all the time in America.
Mhm.
Yep. This is America.
Well, we're at 52 minutes already. Holy
Right?
shit, Travis.
We didn't even really touch some of the other stuff we wanted to. So some of the real quick in passing things, jumping off of sports. U.S. President Donald Trump posts on Truth Social. Robert Mueller just died. This happened yesterday. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He can no longer hurt innocent people. President Donald J. Trump. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a big Robert Mueller fan. I think he's another bureaucratic asshole. But you can't see this tweet and not feel a little bit like, hey, didn't a lot of people like lose their jobs because of them saying shit about Charlie Kirk? And don't get me wrong, that was a little bit of a different animal. It's similar but different. It's not the difference between celery and an apple. It's apples and oranges still, though, right? It is a little bit different, obviously. Robert Mueller went after Trump very hard. A lot of it turned out to be bullshit, if not all of it. I don't remember all the ins and outs, but that was he was heavy on the Russiagate shit, which was bullshit. So I'll give him credit where credit's due. With that being said, you're the sitting president of the fucking United States, dude. Like, this was cute 10, 15 years ago, I guess. And I still know a lot of real fucking cran eaters that were just like eating this shit up still. And I'm just like, dude, like at a certain point, man, it's not cute anymore. It's not funny. Like, you're not owning anybody. Like, people lost their jobs for saying shit exactly like this. And you were like talking about having rules and shit that said that you couldn't do this, and he still is with all the anti-Semitism laws. Don't even get down that goddamn.
You know what my mother would say about this? She would say, if you don't have anything...
goddamn it, quit trying to sell me sex toys. No.
Oh, no. That was Matt. That was Matt.
Sorry.
No, she would say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And then she would probably say that Trump is a real humdinger.
Yeah, he's a real piece of work, Keith.
I always try to figure out, what in the hell is a humdinger?
Maybe you should ask your dad.
I should ask Matt. He's probably tried selling one.
Shit. I saw him. I think it was his TikTok. He did something where he did like a dance. I don't know. There was some TikTok dance. I was gonna give him some shit, and then I swiped too quick, and it was lost in the algorithm, and I didn't bother looking it back up. But I think it was his TikTok. He did something.
He actually
silly goose.
The
material.
night of the tornadoes, he stopped by here because he lives almost directly a mile north of my father-in-law.
Nice.
And he's like, he stopped over here. He's like, I'm like, did you get any damage? He goes, no, I heard it. He's like, I heard it, but we don't have nothing. Like, pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, that was so let me close out of that. So there was that. Kind of in tandem, you had President Donald Trump mocks honest Supreme Court judges, saying they openly disrespect the president by choosing the law over him. Recently, Donald Trump tariff case, Learning Resources versus Trump, might come to represent something else entirely, how the president can't control the Supreme Court. Trump has now gone as far as calling Supreme Court justices disrespectful for not giving him a favorable ruling. In a long and detailed Truth Social post, the president lamented how justices with conservative leanings don't move as a pack like their liberal counterparts. He's not entirely wrong on that, but that's kind of supposed to be the point, right? Like, this kind of goes hand in hand with what Justin Amash was talking about with the Libertarian Party during his speech at the convention yesterday. Was like, listen, both the Democrats and Republicans don't mind ruling by executive order and don't mind, not going through the process. Like, he was telling stories when he was in Congress that they would literally have a bill called like Bill 1234, right? And literally that day they would come in and take it out and replace it with a different bill, still the same bill number, but with different stuff put into it. And he'd be like, well, I need more time to read this one. And they'd be like, no, you've had lots of time. We've given you 2 days. And he's like, not this bill. This is different. What else is in there? And they literally won't tell you.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, there's not the amount of time. Nobody can physically, he goes, even if I physically just sat down and read every single bill, he goes, there wouldn't be enough time. No, not enough hours in the day. He goes, yeah, sure, there's stuff you can do now. You can you get the bills and digitals, stuff, and you can look up keywords, and you can, but a lot of these bills you have to, see subsection D, and then you go there, and then it talks about a different bill that so you don't really understand the bill. None of these motherfuckers do. And that's from the horse's goddamn mouth. So, but yeah, the frustration, setback in courts, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. So long and short, Trump's, it's not going the way that he wants it to, but you know what, man? That's kind of what the point is, Like, you're not supposed to just be able to walk in and do whatever the fuck you want. Like, and here's the biggest problem is that, the biggest issue with what is actually happening has more to do with the fact that you have him not actually doing what he ran on, right? So except for the tariffs. I mean, he ran on the tariffs, don't get me wrong. And I said from day one, I would be okay with the tariffs. I'm not a tariff fan. Let me rephrase that. I would be more comfortable with it if right out the gate it was like, we're going to do these tariffs, but then we're also cutting out the income tax. This is a replacement tax. Okay, whatever, but that's not the case. So now we're getting doubly taxed. Like, and I love the MAGA people that are like, oh, we're not getting no, all the prices just drastically went up right as Trump put the tariffs in. They didn't pass those on to us at all, right? And now, mind you, they were drastically going up in the first place because of inflation. So it's kind of hard to tell where the inflation rising ends and the tariff rising begins. But does it matter? Like, you're still paying for the taxes on stuff that corporations, that corporations are building into it. And then the tariffs happen anyways, and the corporations are going to get the monies back for it. So they're going to get doubly paid because that's what happens in the system. The system is there to fuck you every way, man. I don't know. I guess we could talk about the Iranian war a little bit more. That was the other thing that I think we had on the docket to talk a little bit about. We had Kevin Tracy on, and that was a good thing. There was some points that he brought up that both of us kind of pre-show kind of said to each other that we didn't. Obviously, we don't agree with them on everything. It's a lot of good, interesting points. I guess my biggest qualm is that, him, and I know you said that there was another guy that you knew that was in the military that both said that, yeah, it makes sense.
They both said that this war is about China. It's about China. It's not about Iran. It's not about Israel. It's about China. A different view on it, I guess.
And in a roundabout way, obviously they're allies. So I think in a roundabout way that's on their mind. But I mean, Chinese ships are able to go through, and America's not stopping them, right? So, I mean, if you're going to put this much effort into it, I feel like you're going to be a little more combative because you're already in for a penny, in for a pound. You're already in a super unpopular war. You're only a few months away from losing your majority. I mean, no matter which way you slice it, they're not going to have the votes because they're going to lose some votes. And there's going to be some people that are going to win again that are going to bulk and stop supporting the war anyways, right? They're going to stop letting the money, the Department of War just asked for what, $200 billion more fucking dollars? How crazy is that, dude? What could $200 billion do do for America? What could you do with it? There's so many things, man. Fix any of the crumbling infrastructure across the country. Help fund, different liabilities. I mean, Jesus Christ. I could come up with 60 different things in 10 minutes. It's insane, dude.
Provide us with health care like we do other countries.
There's that. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy that you even have to have these conversations with some of these guys. Yeah, and again, you know me. I'm not waving the Democrat flag. In fact, I'm putting something together. I'm going to start working on it. One of my Democratic challenger likes to really point out and really hone in on the NIPSCO stuff, which is fair. That's a good point. But man, I looked up and NiceSource sure does donate to a lot of Democrats. So that's something I'm going to deal with. I know that's not something that we typically talk about on this show, but I'm going to dig into that. So that's something I'm going to be putting together.
Good stuff.
Regardless. Anyways, I don't know, man. It's an hour too. What do you want to do?
Hour or two. If you editing, you're not going to have much editing on this one. I don't think.
No, well, I'm going to add in the videos and pictures of the tornado stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be good. So
Yeah,
I think not every show has to be a 2-hour documentary. We had a 2-hour one with Kevin earlier this week. We got a good non-political one coming up, talking about UFOs and shit. That's always fun. So we got that one coming up. Again, we're going to have a lot of different libertarian people coming on the show over the next few weeks. We got some other Republicans that are running for office. I don't think we have any Democrats at this point lined up, but I'm sure some will pop up. We'll keep getting candidates in,
Do you think you can get the Libertarian Secretary of State candidate?
She's already said she would. I already asked her. Yeah, she's already said, hell yeah. Her exact words, dude. Lori's a cool ass bish, dude. She's a cool chick.
Probably
I like
shouldn't
her.
say that.
I said bish. I said bish. I said bish. I'll say that. She is. She's a cool chick. I think a lot of people are going to, once they start seeing, I think she's going to put together the most serious libertarian run that the state of Indiana has seen thus far, and I think it's going to be really good. I think it's a couple of things. I think one, I think it's a race that a lot of people are more willing to split their ticket on because they don't care that much. They don't know that much about what it means, and the guy that's doing it now, that Diego Morales, everything I've seen and heard, he hasn't been doing a very good job. I don't know who the Democrat is that's running. So yeah, I think she's going to, the nice thing about libertarians for this, we talk about this blue wave coming. The nice thing about libertarians and what I think is something that a lot of candidates could really push for this coming election cycle, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going to my Republican friends and going, hey, are you as disappointed in the way that the Republicans have been acting as I have? Obviously, I left the party, but you guys aren't willing to leave the party yet, right? And most of them will say, no, not willing to leave it. Well, this vote Liberty. You don't want to vote for a Democrat, do you? No, God, no. Well, vote for Libertarian, because at least it's much more along the lines of what you still, you're still voting for gun rights. You're still voting for, but you're actually voting for somebody that's going to stand up and do it on principle, right? And somebody that's in the vein of a Ron Paul, Thomas Massey-ish, Justin Amath. Somebody that's going to put his money where his mouth is at. Look, there's not any other, one of the biggest problems with the Big L Libertarian Party is that everybody there, and Evan made a couple of jokes when he was doing the stuff yesterday, and he's like, listen, everybody here knows that I'm the most libertarian, just like you think you're the most libertarian. Everybody in the room thinks that they are the most libertarian in the room, right? It's the running joke. Everybody thinks they're smarter. Everybody thinks they're better. But that's what makes for good conversation. And that's what makes for good debate. And that's what makes for really principled people. And that's what we've been lacking in government, is principles. And so I think this is a good year to put together some, put some real force forward. So I don't know.
We'll see. It's a different election cycle this year.
Everyone's different. Every election cycle is different. And I'm excited to be a part of this one. I am. I've been thinking of a good, so at the bottom of my signs, I created my my committee, and my name of my committee is the Disenfranchised. So that's the name of my committee. So when at the bottom of my signs, it's going to say paid for by the Disenfranchised.
Nice.
Is that not cool or what?
Nice. All right. Well, I think that's a pretty good show. We're about
Pretty
done
good
here.
show.
So
All right. Well, as always, I'm Travis Gearhart,
I'm Keith Cunningham.
and we are Disenfranchised.
Disenfranchised. Yeah.